In previous video we have seen how to interface LEDs and also a toggle switch or a normal switch. Now we are going to mix these two things, that is LEDs and switches, and we are going to write a program. So here our application is, whenever we press the switch, the LED connected to the Arduino should get turned on. So whenever if we release the switch, the LED should get turned off. So for that purpose we are going to interface both input and output devices. Here my LEDs are output devices and switch is the input device. For that purpose I am going to choose 2 pins from the Arduino. We are having 14 digital pins. Out of 14 I am going to select 7th pin to interface the input device, that is switch, and 8, 9, 10, 11 for interfacing the 4 LEDs. So we will develop a small application for this or the Arduino. Now I am going to interface the switch with the Arduino. So every input device or every sensor will have 3 terminals. One is VCC, ground and output. So every sensor, if you take any sensor, you can see the IR sensor, it is having the 3 terminals. One is VCC and ground and output. VCC and ground is connected to 5 volts. Here you can see 5 volts and ground of the Arduino, so that this sensor will get power from this board. And finally this output, this last one, output is connected to one of the digital pin to read the data or to process the data. So first thing is, we are going to interface the switch. So ground is connected to ground. And this is the output of the switch, where I am going to connect it to 7th digital pin, you can see, and the VCC is connected to 5 volts. So after that we are going to connect this LED module. So if you observe on the LED module, here you can find ground and L1 to L4. This ground is connected to ground of the Arduino board, and remaining 4 are connected to digital pins of the Arduino. So this white one is the ground pin, where I am going to connect to the ground of the Arduino. So here we are having one more ground, we can see here. So it is connected to ground. After that we are having 4 wires for these 4 LEDs. So these 4 are connected to any 4 pins of the Arduino. So here I am going to select 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have done with hardware part. Now it's time for software. So our aim is, whenever if we press this button, the LEDs connected to the digital pins, that is 8, 9, 10, 11 should get turned on. So here controller is going to take a decision by reading the status of the switch. Whenever the status of switch is high, that is 1, whenever the switch is pressed, then this LED should get turned on. For that purpose we have to use a conditional statements, that is if or else if. So by using if or else if, this controller is going to take the decision, and it is going to monitor the pin which is connected with the switch. So we will go with the software part, that is programming part. Here I am now coming to the software part. Here in our small project, we are using both input and output devices. My switch is connected with the 7th digital pin and I am declaring that 7th pin as input so that controller will understand that input device is connected to the 7th digital pin. Now I have already connected my 4 LEDs to 8, 9, 10, 11 digital pins of Arduino, and I should declare that 4 particular pins as output. So this is how we can declare the pins as output. So initializing the hardware is finished in the setup function. After that, we are going to see the logic part. So in the logic part, by using a variable, temporary or variable, we are going to store the status of the switch. Whether if the switch is pressed, the status will be 1 or high. If switch is released, the status will be low. All the things can be seen in the serial monitor. So our application is when the switch is high, I should turn on the 4 LEDs. By using the digital write, we can make that particular pin as high. So similarly for other 3 LEDs. So I am using a conditional statements, that is if x is high, that is x is 1, I am going to turn on all the LEDs. Else if the status, that is x is 0, switch is released, then all the LEDs should get turned off. So here I am writing the logic for turning off the LEDs. So 0 means low. So after uploading this program, the Arduino will start sending the status of the switch to the serial monitor. At the same time, it will take the decisions because here we are using serial communication. Once we see the program again, so in the setup function I have mentioned that switch is connected to the 7th pin and it is declared as input. And remaining 4 pins are connected with LEDs and they are configured as output pins. Here I am enabling the serial communication to see the status in the serial monitor. Coming to the logic part, by using a variable, I am going to read the status and I am going to store the status of the switch in that variable. After reading the status, I am going to print the status in the serial monitor for debugging purpose. After that, logic part, if x is high, if switch is pressed, four LEDs will get turned on, or switch is released. Four LEDs will get turned off. Now we will compile the program for the errors. The program has successfully uploaded. Now we will check the status of the switch in the serial monitor. Here we are getting zeros. The status is 0. Here you can see whenever I press this switch, the status will become 1 and the LEDs will get turned on. Here you can see the status and also the LEDs. So whenever I press the switch, LEDs are going to turn on. So here controller is going to take the decisions by using if-else statements. So this is how we can connect input and output devices at a time to the Arduino board.